everyone, welcome back. How are we all? I'm just quickly sharing this out everywhere, so just give me a moment before we start. Welcome in. We are streaming on Periscope and YouTube today. So let me just get this shared out everywhere. Let me check my Twitter. Hey Riley, how are you? Okay, so we are live. Hey Emily, how are you? So we are going to go over the latest in Kevin Bacon's case. We have learnt a lot today and in the last couple of days that I haven't streamed about, reported on. So we will get to that now. Okay, I've finished posting everywhere. Hey Kanga Blue. So we had court today for Mark Latunski and some interesting things have come to light. I have some things to share. Hey Geezer Monkey. Thank you. Thanks for showing your support. I hope you're doing okay. Hey Sassy Pants. Hey Tracker 3. This probably won't be a huge... Hey Sab, how are you? Probably won't be a long live stream. I'm just going to give you the info and then hop off. There's some stuff to go over though, and I really do want to bring the information to you guys. We've learnt some pretty... I don't even know the word. Shocking things in the last couple of days. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So the first thing I want to show you guys, probably should take that off, is, let me get the court docs up. Just got to work out the order. I think this is the first one. Okay, so I don't know if you can really see that. The writing seems a little blurry, but I will read it for you. So this is the case. The case we're talking about is the case of Kevin Bacon. He was a Michigan man, 25 years old, who went on a grinder date on Christmas Eve. He didn't return home on Christmas morning as he was supposed to, was reported missing and then found on the Saturday after Christmas. I think that would have been the 28th, I think. He was found in the home of Mark Latunski, who has been arrested and charged with open murder and mutilation. Today was his second court appearance, and we will talk about that a little bit in a moment. But they have actually released some of the what's the word? Not minutes. The I can't think of what the word is. They've released the... I can't think of what the word is. Court... like the court minutes. What is that called? Transcripts. The transcripts they've released. And so that's what you can see on your screen. So I'm just going to quickly read them. I'm going to warn you that it's pretty brutal. Hey, Jay Suarez. I got your email. I just haven't had a chance to reply. I've been so busy. Hope everyone's well. Thank you, Kanga Blue. Yeah, transcript. I don't think everyone got notifications. Did you guys get notifications? I love seeing everyone welcome each other in. It's so lovely. Okay, so I'm not going to read the top part. I'm just going to go from the bottom. So I will warn you that this is pretty brutal. We're going to be learning about what happened to poor Kevin. Mr. Moore. That's Detective Sergeant James Moore. On December 28th, 2019, Michigan State Police Sergeant Terry Burdan received a call for assistance from the Clayton Township Police Department. The assistance was for a welfare check at the address of 703 West Tyrrell Road, Morris, Michigan, Bennington Township, Shiawassee County. Geez, that's an address. The information was that a missing person named Kevin Bacon may have been at that residence, and the request was made to check for the well-being of Kevin Bacon and if he was at the residence. Troopers contacted the residence and spoke with the resident who lived there by the name of Mark David Latunski. Mark David Latunski granted permission for Michigan State Police to enter and to search the residence for Mr. Bacon. Let me just message a couple of people and see if they got notifications. Hey, Gail. Okay, so he's granted access to the police to go in and to check. A search of the residence resulted in finding Mr. I'm just putting off reading what I'm about to read because it's just so bad. I'm warning you guys. So, a search of the residence resulted in finding Mr. Bacon hanging deceased and naked from the ceiling. Mr. Latunski was placed into custody, at which point I was called at my house. I responded to the scene along with other detective sergeants. An interview of Mr. Latunski was conducted on the morning of December 28, 2019. Under Miranda warnings, Mr. Latunski admitted to the murder of Mr. Bacon. Mr. Latunski stated he used a knife, stabbed him in the back one time, and then slit his throat. Afterwards, Mr. Latunski stated he wrapped rope around the ankles of Mr. Bacon and hung him from the rafters on the ceiling. In addition, Mr. Latunski admitted to using the knife to cut off Mr. Bacon's testicles, which he later consumed. Mr. DeGamo, do you have a copy of the warrant? Mr. Moore, yes, sir, I do. Mr. DeGamo, I'll find probable cause. There's probable cause to count 1 in the warrant is homicide, open murder, did murder Kevin Bacon. I'll find there's probable cause based on the testimony of Sergeant Moore that Mr. Latunski murdered Mr. Bacon and that count 2, dead bodies, disinterment and mutilation. I'll find probable cause that he also did mutilate, remove or carry away a portion of the dead body. You can go ahead and sign that and we're all set. So, yeah. I mean, there's nothing I can say about that. It's just horrific. And the fact that his family have to know that about their son, and the fact that his friends, I mean, one of his friends sent me the article. She had to read that. It's just horrific. And so he is now obviously being called a cannibal. A cannibal. It's Jeffrey Dahmer all over again. And we have more to cover. So that happened that was released the other day. And then I was reading an article. Let me just go and find, actually I can't access it on the computer. I have to access it on the phone, which is really weird. It's a Washington Post article, and it actually mentions about, J Squares, this case is not in Australia. This is a Michigan case. So this happened in Michigan in the Shiawassee County on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. So just like a quick recap for those that are just joining in. Kevin Bacon was a 25-year-old hairstylist from Michigan who used the Grindr app to meet someone on Christmas Eve. He told his best friend and housemate, roommate, that he was going there. He went there that night. He didn't return the next morning for Christmas breakfast brunch at 9 a.m. to his family's home. They reported him missing. When later that day they found his car that had all the clothes that he was wearing and all his belongings in it. And then sadly, so that would have been the Wednesday. And then on the Saturday, police conduct a welfare check on Kevin Bacon at Mr. Latunski'S home. So I have heard two things. I've heard conflicting things. I've heard that Grindr wouldn't release the messages. And so the reason police went to Mark Latunski'S home is because of an incident that occurred in November. In November, a man ran naked wearing a leather cape from Latunski'S home to a neighbour's and demanded they call the police. He was terrified for his life. He believed that Mark was going to kill him. He feared for his life. So the one theory I've heard is that police actually went to Latunski'S home because of a former incident. The other thing I heard today in an article, let me see if I've got a couple of articles pulled up. I'll see if it's in one of these. I actually read in an article today, and I hadn't seen this anywhere else, that they actually retrieved the messages from Grindr, and that was how they knew that he was at Latunski'S home. So there's sort of a little conflicting report on that. We also learnt through a Washington Post article a couple of days ago that I haven't brought to anyone yet. I posted it in the group. We have a Facebook group for this case. I want to follow this case, and I've been in contact with a lot of his friends and trying to sort of support them any way I can. It's hard. You can't really support, but I'm just trying to listen to them and be there for them. But so we have a Facebook group, Justice for Kevin Bacon, in case anyone wants to join. So mods, I have added that as a command. So if you !Kevin, that should come up because I do have Streamlabs set up. So the thing that I learnt from the Washington Post article is there was actually also another incident in October with another man. Now so this is two men now. Two men. I thought we just had one in November. There's now a man in October. I can't bring the article up on the screen, unfortunately, because of the fact that it just won't let me. It wants me to subscribe, but I can actually on my phone. So I will read it to you. It's also posted in the group. So Sab says, his parents said that someone on Facebook sent a message to one of Kevin's friends about the man from November, and the police looked into it from her telling them. Thank you for that, Sab. Sab is actually was friends with Kevin. So if we can give some love hearts to Sab. She's been doing amazing with sharing information on this case on Twitter. But so months before the murder, police say the man's Grindr dates had fled his basement bondage sessions in partially clothed terror. One hopped a fence in the middle of an October night to call 911, telling officers the leather ankle straps and a chain used to restrain him. In November, a man ran from Mark Latunski'S house wearing only a leather kilt, chased by Latunski, who told authorities that he just wanted his $300 piece of clothing back. Both men declined to press charges against Latunski, police said. They said that their sexual activities with him were consensual and that they had simply gotten spooked at the home in a small Michigan township. So now we're hearing that there's 2 other men. From some inside information that I got today, Grindr has released and is retrieving all of Mark's Grindr messages, because unfortunately the app deletes messages after you exit the app, I believe. But they're actually going back and looking through messages, and they're actually going to talk to those 2 victims who didn't press charges and discuss possibly pressing charges. Now, the thing that's frustrating about that is that I feel like if that had happened back when it happened, maybe Kevin would still be with us now. It's really hard. It's really hard to not think like that, because I feel like there was I feel like the ball was dropped with this. Sab is a friend of Kevin's. So we have, that's all new information. Oh, Bell's growling again. Exactly, CS. There is discussions that there've been even more than that, and I'm actually in discussions with someone who unfortunately has no proof because Grindr deletes the messages, but he did actually speak with Mark and didn't pursue anything because he saw the huge red flags. Bell, what's up? What is it? What's wrong? Is that... Bell, what's wrong? I just gave her a bone. I thought she'd be happy. No, it's not the Kevin Bacon. It's Kevin Bacon from Michigan. Let me pop a photo up for you. Bell. Sorry, guys. Bella's growling, barking. Let me get a photo of... I'll do this one. I like this photo. So, there could be possibly more charges being brought forward, and yeah, I am speaking to someone who did speak to Mark on Grindr, but he has no proof, so it's really hard for him to sort of to say anything because there's no proof at the moment that they did speak. But I'm hoping that Grindr releases the messages. She's barking. I don't know what she's barking at. I'm gonna call the vet tomorrow, I think. So yeah, she's telling us what she thinks about it. Sorry guys. I hope that's not annoying. Probably annoying. Give me a second, let me see if I can... She's freaking out because the blinds are moving. So let me just close the blinds and see if that helps. Okay, I'm back. Sorry guys. She's annoyed at me or something. I don't know. Okay, so where was I up to? Okay, so there could possibly be more charges that are brought against Mark. Now, he was in court again today, and there had been talk in the past of him possibly pleading insanity, and I do believe that that's actually what is happening now. So I do have an interview I want to play with for you guys that is of his attorney. Let me pull it up for you. Hey, Miss Justice, how are you? Okay, let me pull this up. Okay, here we go. So this is a 7-minute interview. I think this is really important to watch because a lot of people have been asking me, especially people that are friends with him but don't actually they don't follow true crime, so they don't understand sort of how the system works. And a lot of them are worried because they think that if someone pleads insanity that they're going to actually get off of these charges, and that's not exactly what's going to happen. And I think that his lawyer actually does a great job at explaining the process and what will happen. So the judge has actually asked for Mark to be held in a psychiatric hospital for 60 to 90 days to be assessed and to see if he is competent to stand trial. So we're about to listen to what his attorney says. Oh, I'm so sorry, Miss Justice. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sending you gentle hugs. Okay, let's have a little listen.
Fill you in. Right now, we're seeking a possible insanity defense. The court granted my motion to send him to the forensic center to be checked for competency. If they find him competent, then they will go further and do the criminal responsibility, because we're alleging maybe at the time of the offense he was criminally insane, and they'll determine that. Once they do all the testing, interview him, get the background, they have to research his prior hospitalizations. He'll head down there somewhere between 60 and 90 days. It usually takes them about 30 days to get the report. Sometimes it takes longer because they have multiple hospitals. They have to check with CMH records, and then they'll compile the report. So for about at least the next 60 days, this case is going to be put on hold until we get all the testing done.
So he won't even be sent to do the testing until 60 days from now?
About 60 to 90 days, yes.
What are some of the factors that led you to make this motion?
Basically, I will tell you what's on public records to keep it that way. He believes he's named someone else. He believes he is from a royal family out of Wales, the Thomas clan. And just the nature of the crime itself, you've got to send him for this evaluation.
Okay guys, I will try and do something about the volume, but it's up as loud as it possibly can be, but let me see if there's anything else I can do. Actually, this should help. Let me just listen. Okay. We'll start back. It's only a minute in. You will have to... Riley can hear it with earbuds. Yep, so unfortunately it is very low. For some reason, they just don't do so great with the audio. I've got it up as loud as I can. It should be a little louder now, but try with earbuds or just turn it up as loud as possible. I'm so sorry, guys, but that's the best I can do. Okay, let's try again. Good Lord. Seriously. Okay. I don't even know what to say. third time lucky. Please. Please, everyone pray to the sound gods for me. Okay? Here we go. Let's try again.
Basically, I can fill you in. Right now, we're seeking a possible insanity defense. The court granted my motion to send him to the forensic center to be, one, checked for competency. If they find him competent, then they will go further and do the criminal responsibility, because we're alleging maybe at the time of the offense he was criminally insane. And they'll determine that. Once they do all the testing, interview him, get the background, they have to research his prior hospitalizations. He'll head down there somewhere between 60 and 90 days. It usually takes them about 30 days to get the report. Sometimes it takes longer because they have multiple hospitals. They have to check with CMH records, and then they'll compile the report. So for about at least the next 60 days, this case is going to be put on hold until we get all the testing done.
So he won't even be sent to do the testing until 60 days from now?
About 60 to 90 days, yes.
What are some of the factors that led you to make this motion?
Basically, I will tell you what's on public records to keep it that way. He believes he's named someone else. He believes he is from a royal family out of Wales, the Thomas clan. And just the nature of the crime itself, you've got to send him for this evaluation. Just as now that's come out, all the other aspects of the crime have come out, and what he did and how he did it's come out, that just by that nature, as an attorney, I have to send him for an evaluation.
In speaking with him, what's his demeanor?
He's been very cooperative with our department. Both of us have spoken with him. My investigator and I went in to talk to him. He's cooperative, very polite. Other than I call them grandiose stories, and he appears to really believe them. And so I talked with the prosecutor yesterday about some of this, and they're also investigating the background as we are too.
Police have said he acted alone. Do you believe that as well?
As far as all the information I have, yes.
Does he portray that same demeanor in jail as well? I don't know if you had conversations about that or not.
What do you mean by demeanor?
Like, well, you mentioned his,
yeah, he's been no problem with any of the other inmates, and his behavior is appropriate in jail.
I know in the first hearing he provided the other name. Has he only provided that near you
Yes.
as well? Okay.
And that's Edgar Thomas Hill.
Okay.
Do they have him segregated?
Yes and no. He was, but then he's been sharing a cell with a couple other people.
So the name he signed on the court document was a different name as well. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. I don't know if that's Edgar Thomas Hill he signed or a different name. I will have to look at that. He did not disclose that to me.
So he is denying that he committed the crime?
I can't answer that. It's at this point, we're not whether he's denying it or admitting it. It's a point of checking his mental health.
Okay.
This case for you, where does this rank in bizarre? Because it is.
I think Channel 5 asked me that too, and I've handled multiple murder cases before, and I'm just not going to comment on that.
How is it going to be a difficult case, especially with the public's interest?
What is difficult, it's very time-consuming, investigating all this. We have our own investigator that we send out that works with me. He's going to be investigating it as well. Prosecutor's office is sending officers out to do further investigations, and they're in the process of providing me with all the reports. So our office hasn't received everything they have yet. That should be here today or in the next few days.
Is the public's interest a hindrance?
You would probably have to ask the prosecutor on that. Right now, I'm just looking out for his interests.
I was just going to ask, you said 60 to 90 days before that evaluation gets underway. Is there a timetable on how long that usually takes?
In my experience, especially a case like this, it's going to take a little longer. The forensic center is pretty backed up right now, so there's a delay in getting people down there to get evaluated. He will stay in the county jail. County jail will transport him down for the evaluation when that gets scheduled. We won't probably know that for, I'm going to guess, maybe 30 days. They'll send us a letter telling us when it's scheduled. For safety purposes, we do not publicize that, nor will the prosecutor's office. That is just to keep it safe for him and the public. They will take him down. The evaluation lasts the entire day. They will bring him back to jail after that. Then they got to write the report. I've had several ones on similar cases of this where they've had to ask for an extension of time or notify the court that, hey, this is taking longer to go through these records. And I anticipate this will kind of be extensive.
Can you talk at all about mental health history?
Other than what I've placed out on the public record is, I know Judge Clatterball, the former probate judge, from talking with the prosecutor's office, had him committed to Owasso Hospital 2 times, and then Ms. Finnegan also indicated there were 2 times in front of Judge Dignan that he was committed. But all of that is still, we're investigating as well to get all the records for that.
How does this affect his possible sentence?
Open murder, there's only one sentence. It's life without parole. So all of this does not affect the sentence. The judge's hands are tied. The only possible underlying charge would be the mutilation. Judge can sentence on that. And I would anticipate the judge would do what's called the Tanner rule, 2/3 of the maximum, and I believe it's a 10-year.
How long, I mean, if he's not found competent, how long do you wait? How long do you work to find somebody competent?
That is up to the forensic center. They will hospitalize him, and it's a lockdown facility hospital, and they will treat him until he is deemed competent. That they will go in and review his file probably every 2 weeks, make sure he's taking medications. Once he's found competent, he would then come back to jail, and they would finish their findings of whether or not at the time of the offense is what's called a criminal responsibility.
So there's no statute of limitations or anything like that?
So there's none on open murder, so there's not really, however long it takes to find him competent. Usually if he remains incompetent for over 15 months on a felony, then it has to move into civil proceedings typically. So we won't know until that timeline is exhausted.
And by civil proceedings, would that be any jail time?
Well, he would be locked up the entire time. Theoretically, if he was found incompetent, he could be hospitalized in a controlled setting as long as it takes. So he would not, they would have to find him not to be a danger to release. So, and I can't guess on how long that would take or what. So procedurally, we should know something probably 90 days or where we're at.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the moment, I think it's just going to be a wait to see in the trial aspect, but a lot of people are asking about potential victims. And let me go back to there was an article that was released. It's the Washington Post one that I've mentioned. Unfortunately, I can't show you on. Let me just try again and see, unless they want you to subscribe, and obviously I'm not going to do that. But the police actually make a really interesting comment. See if I can do that. Maybe they're letting me this time. Nope, wouldn't let me do it. Yeah, they won't let me. So in the Washington Post article that you can actually see through your mobile, it's really bizarre, but they make a comment that says, "A dozen detectives and a criminal analyst are on the case," said Kaiser, trying to figure out how many people. No, that's not the right one. Let me look in my phone. Where is it? So Grindr said in a statement that it is heartbroken and horrified by what happened to Kevin Bacon and is fully committed to working with law enforcement, but it declined to comment on individual users, citing privacy reasons. But there is a comment that is made by police that sort of implies that they're looking for possible other victims of this man. Okay, so this is what I was trying to find after all of that time. Authorities are combing through the defendant's history on Grindr and urging people to use caution with dating apps known for linking strangers in casual hookups. But David Kaiser, a first lieutenant with the Michigan State Police, says there is little they could have done to apprehend Latunski after his hookups frightened exits. Police are worried that others involved in bondage activities at the house may be reluctant to come forward. There was a quote, I can't find it. I'm still looking though, that they do believe there's possibly more victims. I just can't find the quote, which is really annoying me. So I have been speaking to someone who doesn't have the proof because Grindr deletes the messages, but I'm hoping now that Grindr will restore, they're looking at restoring Mark's messages on the app, and then that way they'll actually be able then to contact Hey Bunny Bubs, they'll be able to actually contact people who have actually have gone to Mark's house or have just had a conversation with him and get some more information. Let me go through and read comments. I mean, I want to urge people that had contact with him to go to police, but because Grindr deletes the messages, they don't have proof. You'd just be going to police and saying, hey, I don't have proof, but I spoke to him. That doesn't seem, I don't know whether that is, I don't think that they take you seriously. So I think it's really, really great that they're actually now going to retrieve those messages. So basically what's going to happen now is over the next little while, Mike Latunski will be transferred from Shiawassee County Jail to the psychiatric hospital. The process takes 60 to 90 days, so it's going to be a couple of months, I think, before we have information in regards to the court case. He'll then be assessed. If he's assessed and is competent to stand trial, trial will continue. If not, he stays in the mental health facility until he is deemed competent to stand trial. So, I mean, that could be weeks, months, years, decades. We have no idea, unfortunately, what that sort of looks like, which is very incredibly frustrating for Kevin's family and loved ones, because you want justice, and I know some people would think that maybe he was faking, but I guess that the justice system have to do what they have to do. It's just incredibly frustrating for the Kevin's family and loved ones. unfortunately. But in that time, we may hear more about other victims coming forward and speaking. I do hope that the two men from October and November do come forward and find that little bit of strength and bravery to take back their power and to look at charges if they feel that that's what really happened. Hey, Spider Lady. Hey, Cheryl G. Gail B says, I remember once before, I think it was an Australian incident, that male victims wouldn't come forward as they hadn't come out as publicly inclined to use those type of apps. Yeah. Yes, well, I have done a lot on the Matthew Leverson case, and there were some people that didn't want to come forward in that and testify against Matthew's alleged killer because of the situation, and they weren't out as well. Mark is divorced. He has 4 children with his ex-wife. It is believed that around the beginning of the year he lost his job, and that's when his mental health took a huge sort of downward spiral. His partner of 5 years actually ended their relationship in September because of, hey Shelley, because of the fact that his mental health was spiraling so much, and he wasn't taking his medication. So it seems like a very downward spiral. It doesn't justify what happened to Kevin. It just explains it. That's all I think. It just explains it. It doesn't justify it at all. He's been committed 4 times. And I feel like there's a gap in some sort of system. There's where this is happening. Yes, Jeffree Star was involved. Jeffree Star donated, so they Kevin's family had a GoFundMe set up for $20,000 for funeral expenses, etc. And Jeffree Star, who Kevin was a huge fan of, actually donated the $20,000, which was so lovely. Very lovely. So I think that's the latest that we know. We may not hear a lot in regards to the trial for a little bit. It's sort of going to be a wait and see, but I do hope that we hear more about other victims coming forward and feeling safe to do that now, because they will be believed and they will be heard, and charges will be brought against Mark if anything was done to them. But yeah, the latest is that he will be moving to a psychiatric hospital to be assessed. Yes, Kevin Bacon, the actor, actually did pay tribute on his Instagram as well, which is really nice. Hi, Strange. So yeah, I think that's actually the latest. So if you want to know more about the case, like I said, we do have a Facebook group, Justice for Kevin Bacon of Michigan. I'll pop that up again. And we share the latest every article that's released. And we want to sort of have a safe place for family and friends as well. So it's about the case. It's also a support group as well, because obviously it's such a horrific case and they need that. And there's only one other group, and there was some, they weren't being very respectful. So I want to give Kevin's family and friends somewhere to go together to feel safe to talk about Kevin. But yeah, I think that's the latest. I think that's all we know. Latunski'S been moved to the Center of Forensic Psychiatry to be determined if he will stand trial. When that happens, we won't know. It'll take some time, a couple of months, I believe. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you so much. It's a very, very quick live, but I wanted to come on and give you the latest. If there is a case or updates you want to share with me, you are welcome to message me, email me, missbridgetparker@gmail.com. Let me put that up in the group in the chat as well. And so admins know I do have some commands that shares information. If you want to know what they are, shoot me a message and I'll give you the list as well. But please take care for today. Our next stream will be, I'll be off tomorrow, and our next stream, you do have homework for the next stream. If you can stand it, please watch Don't F with Cats on Netflix. We are going to talk about Luca Magnotta in our next stream, unless something breaking happens with another case. But so your homework is to watch that if you can. If not, it's okay, because I will bring you all the information, but I will not be showing you any videos with animal cruelty or anything like that in it. But we will see you then. And yes, please take care, everyone, and bye for now.